concept of a marginal in your textbook on page 60. Okay, so marginal y equals to the change in y over the change in x. So if you look in the graph, this is the graph for with the y on the vertical axis and then the x on the horizontal axis. Okay, so if you take the slope from point B to point D, okay, so you have here point B and then you want to go to point D, so you need to take the slope. So the slope is the rise over run. So what you do is the rise here is from y4 to y2. So in other words, you can see that this y4 minus y2 and then x4 minus x2. So here equals to the rise over run. Okay, so in terms of the graph, the run is the difference at the bottom between x2 and x4. And then the rise is between y2 and y4. Okay, so the slope here is just this line between point B and D. Okay, now in economics, this is not acceptable because the slope is inside the curve. What you want is the slope at point D. So what is the slope at point D here? So you need to take the limit. So you take the derivative of y with respect to x and then take the limit of the ratio between the change of y and the change of x such that the change of x is equals to 0. So that means the change of x is very small. So in terms of graph here, you can see that this D, point D, you need to take the change of x here is very small. So that's why we take the limit of the change of x equals to 0. So then you will have this line, which is the slope at point D. Okay, so this makes it easier in economics to solve any problems. There are only two rules. So here is an example, y equals to 2, which is a constant rule. So here is constant rule. Okay, so for example, if y equals to 2, then the derivative of y with respect to x equals to 0. So any derivative of a constant is always equal to 0. Okay, now another rule is a power rule. Okay, so this one here, what we call it power rule. Okay, so for example, y equals to ax to the b. So if you take the derivative of y with respect to x equals to, and you have a b, which is the power, take the power down, multiply by the coefficient a, leave the variable x, and then take the power minus 1. Okay, so for example, y equals to 2x to the cube. So the derivative of y with respect to x equals to, coefficient here is 2, and then take the power down, which is 3, keep the variable x, and then take the power 3 minus 1. So if you simplify, this becomes 6x squared. Okay, so this is the only two rules that we use in economics in this class, Econ 321. This is by Dr. Halliman.